Welcome to Hockey Night in New York, where Islanders hockey always reigns supreme. Whether you were raised at the barn in Uniondale or born in the stable at Belmont, Hockey Night in New York is your home for all things Isles. Now, let's drop the puck and get this party started.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Hockey Night in New York. Welcome to the program, everyone. It is Sunday, January 11th, 2026. Coming to you live from Florida Media in Rockville Center. An absolutely stupendous show coming up for you tonight. Mr. Kelly Cheeseman, President of Business Operations, will be joining us later on in the show. My name is Sean Cuthbert. With me, as always, is Mr. Arthur Staple. Arthur, how are you?
I'm great. How are we doing?
We're doing great. Nice little week for the New York Islanders.
Yeah, lots to talk about.
Lots to talk about, but before we jump in, I want to remind you that we are proud to be sponsored by Razor, Kniff, and Lonstein, attorneys at law, ready to fight for you. Check them out at razorandkniff.com. That is RAISERANDKENNIFF.com for a free consultation. And if you're hanging out with us live in the chat, you want to get your questions in later, type in questions brewing, followed by that question, and we will answer it later on in the show. So, Arthur, nice little week for the Islanders.
You bet.
Decent game against the Devils.
Yeah, you'll take it.
Also a decent game against the Pred, given the result. And a pretty nice game last night against that Minnesota Wild team.
Nice result, I would say. Maybe not the best game, but
right.
We'll take the end result.
Still in second place, still 4 points behind the Canes because they just don't lose. 3 points ahead of the Flyers, second and third place. So they're still in a decent spot, but the point of the matter is they have to keep winning because everybody else does too.
Exactly. And I think they're going to continue to do what they do. I think you look at that game last night, a lot of Islander fans, my group chat, I'm sure whoever you're texting with, that's a game that's almost like a schedule loss. They haven't won in Minnie in a long time. You're missing who you're missing. Minnie has been on fire lately. They keep falling behind in that game. Just finding ways to get back in it without, their biggest goal-scoring weapon in Bo Horvat. You just really like the effort. And we've talked about it on the show since the season started. This team is all about effort. They're all about commitment to just competing essentially. And, it stands out in such contrast to some of the other teams we have here in the local area. We're going to talk about the Islander Devil game, 9-0.
Yeah, we
Rangers
are.
get a 10-2 pasting by the Bruins yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, the Islanders are the ones that are competing from the first whistle to the last, and you love to see it. You love to see the way that they're playing in overtime. They're not the most skilled 3-on-3 team. 5-0 in games that end in OT. No team has ever gone through an 82-game season in the 3-on-3 era without an OT loss. So I've obviously jinxed it for next show.
Yes, you have.
But there's just so much to like, and we keep repeating ourselves saying that. And I understand they're not sitting where Colorado's sitting, but the fact that they are sitting where they are with the injuries that they've had, with Matthew Schaefer being an out of nowhere sensation, you just like what you've seen, and that even the shootout loss in Nashville, you can certainly accept that with Sam in between those two great games that they had.
Yes, so let's talk about the glorious night versus the New Jersey Devils. That was the goal differential game for the Islanders.
That's right.
They were hovering around even for the majority of the season here. They pump up 9 in the Devils. You obviously get the natural hat trick from Anthony Duclair, and then you got a bunch of guys having fun that night. Barzell, Holmstrom, Zeker, D'Angelo, Richie. Zeker had 2 that night, right? And they all get in on it. But listen, it wasn't just a goal fest. Ilya Sorokin stood on his head, 44 saves, huge game from him.
Yeah, to see him come back from 2 weeks away, where we're not really sure how severe this injury is. He comes back in. It's a big spot against a division rival, and I think not every single one of those 44 shots was super high danger, high quality stuff, but he was moving around really well. If there were any doubts about the state of his physicality, he really dispelled them in a really demonstrative way. And then once it's 5-6-0 and he's just going for the shutout, he's still playing at a super high level.
Yes.
No drop at all in that third period. And so that was great to see. But yeah, the offensive outburst was really enjoyable. Obviously the Devils are kind of in one right now with the way that they've been playing, but Islanders, no mercy, putting goals up, 8 and 9 in the final 2 minutes. Who cares?
Who cares?
This is the pros. There's no mercy rule. There's no let's take it easy. And it was nice to see, whether it was Cal Ritchie, I think Casey Zizekas, a lot of speed up the ice, a lot of depth scoring, a lot of everybody getting involved. just a terrific night, and on the national broadcast too, to let everybody know how much fun the Islanders are having and how they can score goals. The boring label is gone.
Yeah, and to that point, they had the national broadcast for the Leafs game where Schaefer got put on display.
That's right.
And now you get this one. So now maybe the rest of the league is finally like, you know what, the Islanders might actually be a decent hockey team. Maybe they're not so boring anymore.
Yeah, beating the allegations for many years now.
It's about damn time. All right, moving on to Thursday, the 8th in Nashville, a house of horrors for the Islanders. They don't win there much, but they did get a point, which is something that doesn't happen often there either. So 2-1 shootout loss here. Holmstrom opens the scoring off a nice feed from Mayfield, which also doesn't happen very often. But it's strange. When he does decide to kind of, beat their winger outside, goes down the boards, wraps around, and he makes a play. Makes a nice pass. Holmstrom buries it. The second, the shorthanded goal from O'Reilly late in the second, that was a little bit of a backbreaker there. You get the scoreless third period, and it was also a Soros show, right? Soros was unbelievable for Nashville. Islanders couldn't break through, but at the very least, they hang on for a point, and only one goal scored. Forsberg gets the one in the shootout, and the Islanders come away with a point.
Yeah, and I feel like both games in Nashville, in Minnie, again, places. I don't think I put it together last week. These are two places where they haven't won this decade, which is pretty ridiculous.
It's unfortunate,
especially because Nashville really hasn't been that good over these last few years. But you tie games in both spots going to the third period. And obviously, we'll talk about the mini game where Sorokin really stood on his head there in kind of the final 12 minutes. But even in that one in Nashville, they're pushing, but they're smart. You're in a good position. You're in a playoff spot. You're not going to get out of your structure. You're not going to give up a crazy chance with a couple minutes left in a tie game. I know tons of games in the league are going to overtime and shootouts, but you gotta be able to get out of a game like that and get at least 1 point, preferably 2.
Right.
But as you were talking about off the top, there's so many teams that are so tight. Everybody seems to get points every night, so you got to be one of them, and that was priority number 1 when you're tied going to the third period down in Nashville.
Yeah, and like we noted last week, Nashville has been playing better lately. So it wasn't the same Nashville team you saw in October, November, maybe even December.
Yeah.
They put some wins together. So and as we've said, it's been a tough building for them to play in. So you take a point, and now you come into last night, and all of a sudden, you're starting off this road trip pretty nicely, taking 3 out of 4 points in 2 buildings that you don't have much success in. So let's talk about last night. The Wild, they have the bomb squad with Quinn Hughes there, and all those guys, and you're just expecting them to. I went into this game thinking that the Islanders were going to have a really rough night.
They have an excellent record when you think they're going to lose this year.
It's true. Anytime I'm like, this is going to be a tough night, and ends up being a pretty decent night for them.
We should get some sort of sports betting sponsorship here. Just give out that, I think they're going to lose.
right,
the odds are going to flip.
So, you get this back and forth game. They're basically chasing all night, right? They give up 3 leads, but they're resilient the entire game. They come back each night. You mentioned Sorokin has himself an excellent game. And, as you noted before, undefeated in overtime. Simon Holmstrom's kind of woken up again this week. He gets 2 goals. And Tony DeAngelo has himself a game, too. Assists on both Holmstrom goals. Made a really nice play. Had a really nice shift on not the overtime goal, but the one previously where, he keeps pucking at the point. Nice little spin move, dishes out, gets the puck over to Holmstrom. He scores, and Holmstrom's goal in overtime was excellent.
Yeah, and a good play by DeAngelo. Very subtle little pick as he's going across the top of the zone there to keep Matt Boldy from getting close to Holmstrom. Holmstrom smartly aggressive, gets in there. You saw Boldy smash a stick on the back of the net after Holmstrom scored there. He thought he was interfered with. He was. They're not calling that. So a smart play by Tony DeAngelo, who could have had 3 assists. The own goal by Pajot, probably. That was another setup by him. So, I kind of, what you're getting with Tony DeAngelo, especially defensively. You understand the limitations he has, but when he has offensive nights like that, especially on a night when Schaefer's kind of bottled up, it's good to see. It's good that you need somebody from the back end that's not always going to be Schaefer facilitating and getting things moving there. And again, Simon Holmstrom, somebody seems to always step to the fore, no matter who's missing or who's having an off night. Duclair had the big night on Tuesday. He gets bumped up to the top line. Not a big night for that line with Barzal and Lee and Minnie, but Simon Holmstrom is in there to show us some of the flashes that he showed previous seasons, especially last season. Great setup on the shorthanded 2-on-1 to Cizikas at the end of the second period. Such a huge goal with the way that Minnie's power play had worked to get the 5-on-3 goal earlier. And I think I dug it up. Simon Holmstrom, 14 shorthanded points the last 3 seasons, tied for the league lead. Pajot's also tied, and a couple other guys. So, we've talked about him a lot, not necessarily in the most positive way, where we thought he would kind of seize that top 6 opportunity at the beginning of the year. Maybe not quite time for him, but still, obviously, they need him a lot. And, already up to 12 goals now and, back on pace maybe for around 20. Get back-to-back 20-goal seasons with the kind of offense the Islanders have had the last couple of years. It's good to see, and they definitely need it.
Yeah, and he's still only 24, so there's room for growth there, right? Yeah. I mean, this is a guy who can potentially... look, for every player in the league, it takes, the timing is different, right? Some guys figure it out right away. Not everybody's Matthew Schaefer. But
for sure,
some guys take a few years to get into it. So maybe Holmstrom is one of those guys. But, you look at a game like last night and you just see the promise, right? You see the potential there for him to maybe finally settle into a top 6 role where, obviously you miss a guy like Kyle Palmieri, but maybe he is a little less missed, or at least you're like, okay, here's somebody who can kind of step in for him and take over that production and maybe play more of a top 6 role, especially as they hopefully continue to head towards the playoffs.
And you also feel like last night, I think with that top line not really operating the way you want them to, a lot of power plays in that game, I think whoever's rolling is going to get the most minutes at 5-on-5, and it was Holmstrom's line. Maybe if technically he's the third line when the game starts, it doesn't really matter. I think their top 9 with Horvat out, it's whoever's going. Holmstrom's line was going with Pajot. You roll them out there, you essentially make them the top line. They earn the most minutes, and boom, he rewards.
Outstanding. So before we wrap up this segment talking about these games, let's get a little anthem from you, Arthur. What do you got for this week?
Well, we'll talk some more about him later, but Ilya Sorokin is putting up some incredible numbers this year. His goal save above expectation, which I get from Clearside Hockey, kind of an obscure stat, but an important one for goalies. He's already at over 20 goals saved above expectation. Logan Thompson is second with 15. Nobody else has more than 9. He is lapping the field. If he keeps this pace up the second half of the season, this is like Dominik Hasek type numbers. Ooh. So I'm going to go with the champ by my guy Ghostface Killer.
Hey, okay.
I don't know if we're calling about any Stanley Cups, but this is Ilya Sorokin's got a Vezina Trophy season working here.
Okay.
Connor Hellebuck won the Hart last year with a lot worse numbers than Ilya Sorokin's got right now. So I don't want to get too crazy, but Ilya Sorokin's the champ as far as I'm concerned. And obviously the shutout against Jersey, taking the record now from Chico Resch for most shutouts in franchise history. He's the champ as far as goalies are concerned, which is crazy to say when we've got Billy Smith and Chico Resch and some other guys in this franchise history, but it's been impressive for him.
All right, a little Ghostface Killer.
Absolutely.
I like it. Well, folks, I want to thank you all for tuning in to Hockey Night in New York, live from Florida Media in Rockville Center. We're going to take a break. When we come back, on the other side, Kelly Cheeseman, President of Business Operations for the New York Islanders, will be joining us.
When in need of representation, it's not always easy to know where to turn. But whether you've been accused of a crime or need to go to court, Razor, Kniff & Lonstein, attorneys at law, have you covered with over 100 years of combined experience. With offices in Manhattan, Mineola, and Suffolk, Razor, Kniff & Lonstein is an award-winning law firm specializing in criminal defense with additional expertise in business debt settlement, trust and estates, personal injury, and more. At Razor, Kniff & Lonstein, you'll have direct access to your attorney 24/7. Because more attentive service translates to better outcomes. You deserve legal representatives with national recognition and a strong track record of delivering results. And Razor, Kniff & Lonstein are ready to fight for you. Call 212-LAW-1500 or go to razorandkniff.com to schedule a free, no-risk consultation today. That's RAISERANDKENNIFF.com. Razor, Kniff & Lonstein. We win cases because we make your problems our problems. Attention all artists, storytellers, and creators of all kinds. It's time to make your content stand out above the rest. And Florida Media is the place to make your visions become a reality. Maybe you want to elevate your podcast and add some video, or turn that novel you wrote into an audiobook. Or maybe you just need the right space to produce your daily vlog. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or just starting out, Florida Media has the professional facilities, exceptional staff, and intimate atmosphere to breathe life into your creative passions at every step of the process.
Hope you enjoyed the ads. Now let's get back to Hockey Night in New York.
That's right, folks. Let's get back to Hockey Night in New York. It is time for On the Line, presented by Razor, Kniff & Lonstein, attorneys at law. And joining us right now is Mr. Kelly Cheeseman, President of Business Operations for the New York Islanders. Kelly, pleasure to have you on the show. How are you?
Good, guys. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So, You're new to the Islanders here. You came in this season. You have a half a season under your belt here. What brought you to the Islanders, and what made the job enticing for you?
Well, first of all, I can't believe you just said it's a half a season, but I think you're accurate. So it's gone by fast. I mean, the opportunity to come to New York, be a part of this historic franchise after 25 years in LA, and the opportunity to come back and partner with Matthew and John Collins and John Ledecky and the great ownership group here to bring a cup back to Long Island is really the intriguing piece to me. I like building opportunities, and the ability to build this fan base up from the strong core that's been here for generations is really exciting for me.
Kelly, Arthur Staple here. Good to talk to you. I'm curious. You come right into the situation, and Matthew Schaefer is here. What is a young guy like him who's getting so much positive attention for the team, for himself, having such an impact on the ice too? What does a guy like Matthew Schaefer do for the Islanders brand and the visibility of the organization?
Well, it's elevated it quickly, right? It's elevated the opportunity pretty fast. I think every time you go into any draft, all of us in the league or across sports, or any of you in the media talk about a generational talent, and we got one, and we're seeing it now. And I don't think any of us really expected to see that. I know, my role in LA, part of that was hosting the draft, and there wasn't as much buzz about this particular draft, but Matthew's a special kid. His family and his background are pretty special in the way he's handled himself, and he immediately connected with the fan base, and he connected with the sports world, and then now he's showing it on the ice. And I think the upside is limitless when you talk about being compared to Bobby Orr or Cale Makar or any of the generational defensemen in our history. This is who we have now. So the chance to really elevate that on Long Island, but across Metro New York and across the country, is really special.
No doubt, Kelly. And just to take a look at your body of work here, I mean, you start with the LA Kings as a ticket rep in 2001. You work your way up. You're there for Stanley Cup success, COO of AEG, 2014 40 under 40 honoree for Sports Business Journal. What sort of experience from all of that are you able to take from that now to this position you have with the Islanders?
I mean, we always talked about years before we won the cups, whether it was with the Kings or the LA Galaxy or even in Berlin. I mean, we won multiple championships across the various teams that I worked on at AEG. And we always talked about preparing for when we're going to be good. And that's what we're doing now here in Long Island. I mean, we have a great team. I think that's overperforming, I think, most people's expectations this year, but probably not the team's expectations. And off the ice, we're really putting ourselves in a position to be prepared to capture in that moment. So, it's not rocket science. I mean, it's sports, right? So it's really trying to create memorable moments and great experiences for people. And there's things that we got to work on to do better with that. But really, it's about creating memories. And when the team plays great, we can capture that moment and give everybody that opportunity.
Kelly, I know you've only been here a couple of months, but Islander fans are a special breed. And what has been your feeling as far as interactions have been with Islander fans, and just what you've learned about this incredibly hardcore fan base that you've got here now?
Yeah, you're right. They are a special breed. I think when you look at some of those teams that were in the 67 expansion or the 72 expansion, there's a good hardcore base that go back to those generations. And for many years, those fan bases defended themselves as to why they were fans of those teams. And I think that's what makes them special. I think the Islanders fans are one of those fan bases. And then, of course, there was a moment in the 80s, obviously, where there was generational growth there with, winning 4 straight cups. So I think what's really cool about seeing the Islanders fan base is there's a lot to take with that growth of those generations and build upon it. And there's kids and grandkids that are part of those generations. And if you take that and you build around that core and you look at the depth of what's on Long Island alone before you get into Metro New York, there's 7 million people here, right? So how do we grow the love of the Islanders into growing the fan base bigger than what it's at today? And that's the questions we have in front of our staff every day.
For sure, Kelly. And aside from winning Stanley Cups every year, could you maybe dive into some of the ideas or plans that you might have for the organization to, keep fans in the seats, grow the fan base, and basically just synergize the Islanders with Long Island as much as possible and the fans?
Sure. I mean, it's not, you don't want to overcomplicate these things, but, making sure that we're creating great content on and off the ice, I think gives the opportunity to grow the fan base in a significant way. I mean, you're seeing a big change in game entertainment and the game ops this year, and we want to build on that. I think we're just starting there. Brooklyn Boyers, who oversees that space, she happened to take the job here in Long Island before I did, but she worked for me in LA for many years, and we're excited to build on that and really create memorable moments at the arena. But when you look at expanding off of the On the Island show that the team has done this year and creating that behind the scenes content, and as it tells the story, I think all those things are great examples of how we can continue to build. I think the reaction that you're seeing from the fans around that access to the barbecue, to the meet the team events, those are the things that build incredible moments for kids and families to really want to stay connected to a team and a brand. So we want to continue to build on that. We're going to significantly grow our youth hockey presence in the community. So that's a big opportunity, and it's already at a good place, but we're going to grow from there. But we also want to grow into Queens, and we want to grow into Brooklyn in a different way than what's been done in the past. We want to grow the fan base. We want to become younger, more diverse as quickly as possible to build on the incredibly strong fan base that's already here today. And if we do that, the barn's going to be full every night, and it'll be sustainably full for many years to come, whether we're winning or if you're, it's sports, right? You're going to go through some moderate moments, and there's going to be some moments where you're going to have some tough times. But if you can have a strong fan base that can take you through those moments, then you're not going to have empty buildings ever. And that's our goal.
Kelly, you've, I'm sure to talking to people here and talking to John Ledecky and Scott Malkin as you're coming in, it's such a transitional time for the organization, obviously on the ice with Matthew Schaefer and kind of turning things around, and a bit off the ice because of the way that the team handled, whether it was social media or marketing or things like that. Do you kind of feel like with the door thrown open, you're trying a lot of different things now that the fans, like you said, are really eager to see and be a part of, just because it would have been kind of quiet the previous years?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not about looking in the past. It's easy to say that and be cliche, and I don't like saying cliches, guys, so it really bugs me when it actually just slips out of my mouth. But it's not about looking in the past. It's about making sure we have the opportunity to move forward. And I think you said it well, like the door has been swung open. So there's a standard there that I think is most fan bases come to expect. And we have an unbelievable ownership group and leadership team here that is willing to try a lot of creative things, and they have been doing a lot of creative things. Matthew Darsh is a great partner for me. He came from, a similar culture as me in Tampa, and we both see the value in what the entertainment provides for the fans in the arena. So there's no, different expectations or feedback that he has than I would have. So we're great partners. We both have championship culture and expectations, and we're looking to bring that standard here to the team across the board. So little things like, preparing for the stretch run of the season and talking about playoffs and marketing the playoffs earlier, that's something different that hasn't been done in the past. And Matthew and I both said, look, that's what championship culture is. You expect to make the playoffs, and you talk about it. You don't hide from it. You don't talk about it when you clinch. You talk about it as a standard and an expectation, and that's what culture is.
Yes, for sure, Kelly. And just looking at, since the current ownership took over, there's definitely been more of an effort made to include the alumni, kind of bring them back to the organization, especially outside of the dynasty. Because I know for a long time, as being a fan myself, when you look back at, who's kind of hanging around the building, who's hanging out with the team, and it's a lot of the guys from the dynasty. And now you're seeing Thomas Hickey in the broadcast, Cal Clutterbuck in the broadcast, and you have new initiatives now where you have Clutterbuck and Josh Bailey doing watch-alongs, separate podcasts and all that. Is there more intent on doing more things like that with the alumni where they get more involved with not only just, showing up for a random game night, but maybe just have them more involved in the literal production or the experience of the team for the fans?
Yeah, I think that standard, Sean, has already been set before I got here. So it's something that's incredibly impressive around how, John Ledecky and Scott Malkin and the ownership group had really rallied the alumni. I think it's not a secret that there's been some distance from the alumni for many years before they got here. And it's impressive to see how connected the generations of alumni are. And I know how hard that work is. It's hard to just keep in touch with them, from cell phone
Sure.
numbers and email addresses to landlines in many cases. And so it's impressive to see what they've done. And I'm just walking into it so I can build on it. But I think the thing that stuck out most to me is how many guys lived here and stayed here. And that's a culture that I want to dive deeper into to really understand that. It's not something you see in every market. And, many times in markets like New York, they'll say, oh, well, they moved away because it was too expensive. Well, I mean, we're in New York and Long Island, like it's, not the least inexpensive market, right? So it's something special here for that to see as to why the alumni have stood by this team and this organization and come back. And in many cases, they played for other teams, yet they want to represent this team. So I don't know that answer yet, but it's intriguing me, and I want to dive deeper in that and really get to know more of the guys and understand them. Many I knew for many years from other opportunities to connect with. So, Butch Goring, I've obviously had a strong connection with back in LA. So, it's impressive to see this, and we'll build on it, but it's easy to build on it when they're here and available, Sean.
I think I'm good.
All right, so I'll follow up with one more. Let's talk about the current team on the ice. You kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but having great success so far. Second in the Metro. I think that it's fair to say for Islander fans, maybe that was a little above expectations heading in. And it looks like the fans, myself included, are having a good time. So maybe you can just speak on how they've been on the ice so far, and also bringing fans into the building. I believe they sold out maybe the last seven games in a row they sold out. But maybe you can just talk about how they've had success and the excitement as we get closer and closer to playoff time.
Yeah, we're buzzing, right? So 7 in a row and expect to sell out all the way to the break, and then we'll see what happens after the break. But doesn't seem unlikely that we'll sell out, most of the games for the rest of the year. I mean, the team's been unbelievable. I think it's fair to say, and we've said it a number of times, and Matthew's said it a number of times, as what has Patrick. I mean, Matthew Schaefer changed our franchise, and I think he's kind of raised the bar to make everybody believe that there's an opportunity here and something generationally different. Not to say that the team wasn't going to come in and compete this year, but I think it gave a little bit of energy. And from my opinion, it's not really my place to talk about, that end of it. But, I think when you see how great, Illy has been in net as well as David, I mean, it gives the team a lot of confidence to push forward and battle back. I mean, last night, that to continue to battle back and tie the game, and then, get that win in overtime. That's incredible. So there's a belief system there, again, to be able to have the ability to beat anybody. And when you beat Tampa 3 times, beat Colorado, you're beating Minnesota, I think you have a lot of confidence going into the rest of the year. So it's awesome to see. I mean, I think when you guys are, going through your conversations and you're, having expectations of competing for division championships. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, Kelly, love to hear it. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the program. So really appreciate your time, and have a great rest of your Sunday night. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. Look forward to getting into that studio there. It looks like a fun
Yes,
place.
come on down.
All right.
All right, Kelly. Thanks a lot.
fellas.
Take care.
Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, great stuff, Arthur.
Yeah. And when you hear what he's saying about him and Matthew Darsh, championship culture, where we start planning for the playoffs when the season begins. We don't say, oh, if we make it, we make it. And I understand what the product is on the ice, and you can't guarantee anything, but that's got to give you goosebumps if you're an Islander fan. To hear that the business side and the hockey side are united with the pedigree that Kelly has, that Matthew Darsh has. I think home run hires on both sides by Scott Malkin and his ownership group, and it's exciting. I mean, it's, we'd love to talk to him no matter what's happening with the team, but it all seems it's all green lights right now, and it's great to see.
So maybe if we had a little more time with him, I might have thrown this at him. And we're music guys, so I want to see what you think about this. So
Okay.
Some teams are starting to do the whole, like, they give individual players their own goal songs now.
Oh, that's right.
Where do you stand on that? What do you think?
I love it.
Right?
Absolutely. It's
Show a little personality.
A little more, a little bit better way to show some personality and let the guys kind of show a side of themselves that you might take a little more effort to find out. It's the fans love to connect with the players in that way. So maybe we'll throw it in the suggestion box for next time.
Well, when he comes to the studio,
That's right.
We'll
That's
talk
right.
to him about it. And it's just going to make it a little harder for game ops, because they're going to have to time the woos and the and that whole thing and the
That's
yes,
right.
yes. But I'd love to see it. I think it'd be great. I mean, listen, was it Joe Satriani? He's the one who does the song now?
That's right.
Right? Like, sure, all the respect in the world to him, but like, I either wouldn't mind a new goal song entirely,
Oh boy.
or
we
is
go.
that a problem?
No, it's fine. It's just we're getting into hot button issues now.
Or well, that's why I kind of left it off of the conversation.
Okay.
But I'd also love to see individual goal songs.
Yeah.
Like, let's see that personality. What does Matthew Schaefer want to hear after he puts in an overtime winner?
I guess we should find out. I don't
We
wanna
should
speak
find
for
that
him,
out.
but
All right. Well, folks, that will do it for On the Line, presented by Razor, Kniff, and Launstein, ready to fight for you when your good name is on the line. So we're going to take one more break. When we come back, we're going What's on Tap.
Representation, it's not always easy to know where to turn. But whether you've been accused of a crime or need to go to court, Razor, Kniff, and Launstein, attorneys at law, have you covered with over 100 years of combined experience. With offices in Manhattan, Mineola, and Suffolk, Razor, Kniff, and Launstein is an award-winning law firm specializing in criminal defense with additional expertise in business debt settlement, trust and estates, personal injury, and more. At Razor, Kniff, and Launstein, you'll have direct access to your attorney 24/7. Because more attentive service translates to better outcomes. You deserve legal representatives with national recognition and a strong track record of delivering results. And Razor, Kniff, and Launstein are ready to fight for you. Call 212-LAW-1500 or go to razorandkniff.com to schedule a free, no-risk consultation today. That's RAISERANDKENNIFF.com. Razor, Kniff, and Launstein. We win cases because we make your problems our problems.
Hey there, welcome back. We missed you too. Now kick up your feet and settle back in to Hockey Night in New York.
That's right, folks. Kick up your feet. Settle back to Hockey Night New York, coming at you live from Florida Media Inn in Rockville Center. Jay, you were playing the finger piano there, hand piano. You a piano player, buddy? Yeah, he's nodding his head. Okay, I don't know if I believe that, but fair enough. It's time for What's on Tap, so let's dive into it. Tuesday, the 13th, the Islanders go to Winnipeg, a place where was once a difficult place to play.
Oh yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, but
It's a difficult place to be too. Sometimes this time of
definitely
year.
a difficult place to exist.
Yeah.
To breathe.
I once had the flu. I had a flu game in Winnipeg probably about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like skyways and stuff, so you didn't have to go outside. And
Okay.
the thing that saved me was the heated floor of my hotel bathroom. I was laying on that for about half a day.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
Adventures in beat writing. We could talk about that for just as many shows as you want.
You know what? Maybe that'll
Maybe
be
we'll
a
have a special
sideshow. Yeah, I think
during
so.
the
I kind of
Olympic
like where
break.
your head's at
Okay.
there.
Hey, I'm ready. I got lots of stories.
So the good news for the Islanders is that Winnipeg sucks now.
Yes, they're
Not
starting to
very
come out.
good.
They're starting to come out of it, but yeah.
They won their last two, I believe,
Yeah.
but this is a team, they got Jake Ottinger. Connor Hellebuck, mixing up American goalies here. Yeah, a lot of syllables. Okay. Right. But anyway, one of the best goaltenders in the league. They're struggling right now. It looks like a team. This is a game where you got 2 points for the taking here. So we've also seen, though, throughout this season where the Islanders have beat a lot of good teams, but they've struggled with some of the teams who are struggling. So we got to see if the Islanders can actually come out and take care of business.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like
Jake Ottinger.
it's gonna be a tight game. There's no stretch on this road trip where you feel like, okay, they're gonna blow somebody out. I mean, maybe it could happen where they win by 3 or 4 goals, but you go into every game. They just had a game against Nashville, whose record's a little bit better than Winnipeg's and similar kind of profile, where you're gonna be in a game that's either low scoring or tight. I feel like you have a lot of confidence in the Islanders in those kinds of games because they do seem to be able to at least get a point out of most of them, as they showed this week. So, I don't know that you want to just assume because Winnipeg's sitting at last in the league by a few points that they weren't the President's Trophy winners last year, and Connor Hellebuck can throw out a Vezina Trophy level game every once in a while. He's not really done it much this year, but it's always sitting there. So, this is a winnable game, but I feel like every game for the Islanders is a winnable game because of the way they play.
They have proven it. And also to note, all the way back in October, third game of the season, the Islanders got beat 5-2 by the Jets back then.
That was when
times.
That was when the Jets didn't stink.
That is true. That is factually true. All right, so hopefully we see a good result there for the Islanders. Moving on to Thursday, the 15th, in Edmonton, 9 p.m. They have I'm joking. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. Thank you. We know the bomb squad that's over there, but funny enough, you look at the standings. The Islanders are ahead of the Oilers. I don't think we saw that. We had that in our 2026 bingo card, seeing the Islanders ahead of the Oilers in the standings. But we know what they bring to the table. Pretty much the same squad. They did bring in Swayman. He's hurt. They're not going to see him, unfortunately, between the pipes because the Islanders fare very well against that fellow between the pipes. But this is a game, obviously, regardless of where they are in the standings. Great team in their building. Going to be tough. Yeah,
and I feel like the Islanders, that's a place where they actually have historically played pretty well in the last few years. So we'll see what they can come up with there. That Pacific Division, it's a real puzzler this year. None of those teams have really stood out very much. You would think Vegas, Edmonton, last 2 finals, but nobody's really seized control in that division or looked really good for a long stretch. So again, obviously they're sitting in a different spot than Winnipeg, but you treat it the same. They're a team that's beatable despite all their stars.
And speaking of those stars, a surprising little nugget I saw in the standings, they are 0-3 in the shootout. I guess you'd probably pin that on goaltending?
Possibly.
Okay.
I mean, and we've seen it with superstars throughout the years. Some of those guys just aren't good in the shootout. I remember Jaromir Jagr used to pull himself out of the shootout because he hated it so much. So you never know with McDavid and Draisaitl.
All right, fair enough. So another winnable game for the New York Islanders.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see. Moving on to Saturday the 17th, the Islanders go to Calgary. That is a 3 p.m. start here, Eastern time.
Ooh.
They are, afternoon games are tough.
Again,
the Islanders.
The history, I remember the Doug Waite coaching season. They had a day game at the end of a very long Western Canada trip in Calgary. And that it's not a great building. I'm sure it's the way that visiting writers and people used to feel coming into the Coliseum, like, oh, God, I got to be in this building again. Saddle Dome.
It is shaped like a saddle dome.
Saddle Dome is not in great shape. It's a very cramped space all the way around.
Yeah.
But Calgary historically plays well there. I know they haven't been very good this year, but the Islanders have had some horror shows there that I have been lucky enough to be in attendance for. So we'll see how this one goes.
Maybe it was your fault.
Probably.
You can't rule it out.
That's why they're doing so well now that I'm not on the covering them.
That's right. Yes, for sure. So, and you even look at the players in the team, right? The team leader right now, 32 points at 45, Nazem Kadri. So they're not exactly, putting up a ton of points here.
Dustin Wolf is a really good goalie, and I think they're a little bit like Winnipeg for me. They've got that, Wolf kind of established himself as a good goalie last year. Maybe they exceeded expectations. And this year, they've had some stumbles. Long Island native Matthew Coronado is not really, kind of taking a step back after a really good year last year. Kadri's been okay. And it's really kind of a nondescript lineup outside of that. So, Wolf is a good goalie. There's always a chance that he could put up a great game. But I feel like, again, the Islanders, whether they're 3-3, 4-4, 1-1. They've really played every different kind of game so far this year, and it doesn't seem to phase them or kind of keep them from getting to their game. So We'll see, and maybe by the end of this week, we'll see Bo Horvat back out on the road.
That'd be nice.
Maybe on the ice. Maybe that game in Calgary would be the one that he could target to try to get back into. So that would be a good development too.
And the Flames did do the Islanders the small favor of beating the Penguins in regulation the other night. So that was nice.
They did. That was a good favor.
Okay. So that's Calgary. Now that's going to do it for What's on Tap. So 3 games on the road, as we knew. Western Canada, winnable. We'll see what kind of performance we'll see from these guys.
Sure.
Okay, so moving on to Hero of the Week. That's right. It's time to talk about really good things that players on the Islanders did in the past week. Now, Arthur, you went first last week, so I guess I'll take the reins this week. Why not, right?
How about it?
So lots to choose from.
Yeah.
Plenty of choices this week. I settled on Anthony Duclair.
Great choice.
Natural hat trick, +6 versus the Devils. First time he's done that since 2019. It's been a minute or two. And, I made him the hero a few weeks ago, kind of hoping that, that would get him going. So I'm going to take a little bit of credit here for that. And hopefully that this gives him another boost to keep him going. But great game. And look, he has been playing pretty well throughout the season. Obviously, he's had some lulls in production. This has certainly boosted his stats just a little bit. 5.9 for him overall. Funny thing is the rest of the week he put up nothing. But huge game for him against the Devils. Helps him get nice 2 points. Anthony Duclair.
Sure, great choice. And we've talked about him, whether he's been jumping in to defend Matthew Schaefer on a couple of occasions, playing fourth line without much complaint, healthy scratch a couple games before the Devils game. I think you're seeing a guy now into his 30s accepting his role. This guy's bounced around a lot throughout his career before he signed here. And I think the kind of the inconsistency in his game was the thing that was always the knock against him. He, incredible talent, incredible speed, skill, but you got to bring it every night. He and Patrick Waugh haven't seen eye to eye, I'd say, the whole time that they've both been here. But I think the maturity now for Duclair, in a similar vein with Matthew Barzal, obviously they're different players, but where you start understanding what your role is rather than being frustrated with what it used to be. And I think Anthony Duclair has embraced, he's a bottom 6 guy now. He's a 12, 13, 14 minute a night guy. You go out there, if you can contribute offense, great. This is a team that needs offense from whoever's out there. And if you can mix it up a little bit, great. We need that because Matthew Schaefer's the untouchable right now. And does it without complaint. So I love seeing what he's been doing lately.
And one last note on him, particularly in that game, was all 3 of those goals were just snipes.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful goals. Now, maybe you look at Markstrom. He hasn't exactly done very well against the Islanders this season. But all 3 goals, just picking corners, beautiful shots. So there you have it for Duclair. And now, Arthur, I turn it over to you.
Well, we mentioned him before with the anthem, but Ilya Sorokin's my guy this week. Again,
nice.
The numbers that he is putting up, and, I saw a poll of whatever it was, NHL.com writers about who their Vezina picks are. He wasn't even in the top 5.
What?
And I feel like,
excuse me,
we'll see what the general managers do with the Vezina. Last year I've been lucky enough to be a trophy voter from the Professional Hockey Writers Association for many years, and I was really flabbergasted by the Connor Hellebuck Hart Trophy vote. I felt like Winnipeg had a great year. He was a big part of it. The Vezina certainly deserved the GM's vote on that. But Hart Trophy to me is, if you're a goalie, you got to put up some special numbers, especially with the metrics. And I understand Ilya Sorokin's got a pretty pedestrian, save percentage. You look at it, he's kind of in the top 5, but he's not running away with it. But again, those underlying numbers where he is lapping the field and how special a season he's had, how important he's been to this team. Obviously David Riddick, great job holding the fort while Sorokin was out for a couple of weeks. But you see when he's in there, even when he gives up 3 last night, without him, they don't win that game. I would say, even if David Riddick's in there, one of those shots in the last 12 minutes leaks through.
Yeah.
And he is just shutting the door. And that confidence that gives the team, obviously, they say, okay, well, we're breaking down here a little bit. This team that's got a lot more skill than us is putting pressure on our goalie, but we have the best goalie, so we'll be fine. And then you have the confidence to go out and win it in OT for him. So Ilya Sorokin's my hero. I guess we could pick him every week, but
yes,
I'll go with him this week and try my hardest to find somebody.
You can put that on autopilot if you want. Yeah, exactly. Arthur's hero is Ilya Sorokin. So 2 great choices, Sorokin and Anthony Duclair. That will do it for Hero of the Week. And now it's time to travel on over to the Snake Den.
Welcome to the Snake Den with Jake the Snake Redonis.
That's right, folks. It's time for the Snake Den with Jake the Snake Redonis. And Jake, let me tell you, you are looking fashionable tonight.
Ooh,
that is a wonderful sweater.
Thank
How you feeling tonight, buddy?
I'm feeling great. I mean, this sweater's so comfortable. Someone pretty cool got it for me.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're actually in this room.
I don't think so, but look great, feel great. Welcome to tonight's show, Jake. What do you have for us tonight?
So I think I'm actually going to do both. We're going to
Get out of here.
Yeah, we're going to keep it in the system.
Around the boards and in the system?
That's right. But first I wanted to ask
2026,
both of
my
you,
God.
if you had your own goal song, what would it be?
I love that question. But I wasn't ready for it.
I know it's a loaded one.
I wasn't
can tell
ready
you
for
mine.
it.
All right, give it a
Yeah, what do you
I
got?
have two. I think it would either be Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears,
Oh, that's a nice
or I
one.
would do Can't Stop by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay. You know, I would probably be a pain in the ass for game ops, and I'd probably rotate it throughout the season. I'd be like, all right, this week or this month, I want this song, and then I want this song. But as the show goes on, I'm going to, in the back of my head, try to come up with something, and maybe I can answer that question later. You got something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'd change it if you asked me 5 minutes from now. I'm going to go with Watch Out Now by the Beatnuts.
Nice.
Okay.
Little 90s hip hop.
Okay.
Good
nice.
choice. Good choice.
Jake, what do you got?
Yes, so we have Isaiah George playing hockey again, which is great.
All
Yes.
right.
Yes,
That is a big
welcome
development.
back.
It's been an injury-riddled season for him. He came back into play earlier this week. Nothing to note earlier in the week. He had some minus numbers, but it's also Bridgeport, so it's kind of common down there. But tonight, he had a three-point night, including the game-tying goal in the third against Hartford. So Bridgeport tonight, down 1-0 in the third, 5 unanswered to beat their foes over in Hartford.
Okay.
George scored the goal and got 2 more assists, which it's nice to see from George. This is someone who's been very connected to the team, that we're going to see him at some point this year. Obviously, health plays a big role in that. We've seen what he was able to do with some games last year. Defensively responsible. He's got a little bit of offensive prowess too he could bring to it. It's not ultimately his game, but he's good with the puck. He could transition well. I think we're going to get to see him sooner rather than later. I know it's been a little bit of a question mark on that left side of defense, also to the point where you're rotating Scott Mayfield over to the left, which didn't look too great. I would
Not too
say.
great.
That's one
I
way
would
to
agree
put
with
it.
that.
Sure. Yep.
So they're trying to find that staple there on the left side. Warren's looked good. McWard's been okay, I guess. But I think George is that guy that we really want to see in that role. And hopefully we get to see him soon. He's also 21 years old. So when you talk about building a core with Richie, Schaefer, Barzell, Horvat, you want George to be into that mix there where you know you have a second pairing or third pairing guy in him. So good to see him back in play, and we'll see when he gets to Long Island.
For sure. And speaking of that, I believe we had a question heading into the show. Chris from Long Island, I think his name is. We might as well field it now since we're talking about Isaiah George. But he wants to know, when is he coming up? When is it going to happen?
Well, I'm sure they were ready for him to come up before. And Matthew Darsh, I think, talked to the reporters on the road trip this week and said, we're just trying, much like Patrick Ross said, we're trying some different things there. You try to exhaust all your internal possibilities for that role before you start to look outside. And obviously they still have some time before the trade deadline. So we've seen McWard, hard to know with him just because he's got to play his offside or play with someone who's not used to playing his offside. That pairing didn't go so great. We've seen Warren. We like what we've seen in him spurts, maybe not full-time. Travis Mitchell, I thought, did a pretty decent job. But I think George has kind of been the guy that they want to see. All the time that he played last year, Matthew Darsh wasn't here. So I think he's got a different front office, him and Ryan Bonus. I'm sure they want to see him, and the injuries have really set him back. And I think that second injury for sure was a frustrating one because that was when they really needed somebody to kind of come up and get a few games. So if they can get him up here, obviously a 3-point night tonight, it's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah.
If he can get here in the next week or two, play a few games before the Olympic break, gives Matthew Darsh some things to think about coming out of the Olympic break, and then you've got maybe a week or so once that roster freeze lifts to work before the deadline to say, are we going to bring a veteran in to fill that spot kind of for a low cost, or is one of these guys going to be able to kind of grab it and run with it? And you want to see Isaiah George get that chance before the Olympic break comes.
Yeah, I definitely want to see him in sooner than later. But, whenever they're ready, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
maybe not
fine.
whenever, but hopefully soon.
Okay, fair enough.
We don't have all the time in the world here.
That's true. Jake, what else you got for us, bud?
All right, so around the boards here, I
All
thought we'd
right.
talk about
Quick
some
transition. I like it.
Yeah, it's hockey, right?
That's right.
So we'll do some contenders and pretenders. I picked 2 in the West
Okay.
and 2 in the East for each, respectively.
Okay.
So we'll start out West. The 2 contenders that I mean, it's obvious here. The Colorado Avalanche.
Did you have to research that one?
I did not. I will tell you, I did look up there at 73 points right now, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Pretty good, yeah.
They look like
three regulation losses, right?
It's insane. It might be 4 now, but it's one of them
is
against the
4.
Islanders.
One of them is the Islanders.
And one
That's
of
right.
them is against the Islanders. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, this team just looks like one of the best regular season teams we've ever seen, possibly.
Yeah.
Scoring up and down the lineup. It's good to see Brock Nelson being involved in that and just winning over there, playing with guys like McKinnon and Makar, obviously world talents. So, I mean, they're the contender, I think, overall in the NHL, and I think that anybody could tell you that.
Yes.
Other than that, I think the Dallas Stars...
Jay could tell you that.
Yeah. Jake can tell you that. I'd say the Stars are the other contender there. I thought about maybe Vegas too, but the Stars just feel like someone who's in the mix late every year. If anybody's going to be able to go up against the Avalanche, I think the Stars might be the people to do it. You got Rantanen, who I know we don't like to talk about over here. He's a bit of a villain, but Robertson also on a warpath now that he was left off of that Olympic roster. They got the goaltending with Ottinger. So if anybody is to maybe go up and give them a little bit of a challenge, I think Dallas would be the team to do it. For pretenders over there, I picked someone familiar that we saw last night. I don't think the Wild are quite there yet.
Okay.
Strong.
I just
a
think
little cocky after the win last night, huh?
That's exactly what did it. But I mean, I look at like the Avalanche and the Stars, and they just have so much more depth than I think that they do. Also with goaltending as well. Avalanche are getting great goaltending out of 2 goalies. I know the guy on the Wild, I forget his name. Is it Wolstad?
Wolstad.
Yeah. He's having a great year.
Yeah.
But you just look, it looks very top heavy for them. You got Quinn Hughes, Kaprizov, and Boldy. I'm not quite sure that they could get over the hump yet. I've always been a fan of the
They
Wild.
usually don't.
No. I mean, it's such a shame, the state of hockey, and they haven't won a Stanley Cup. So, yeah, I'd like them to get in the mix, but I don't think this is the year. Outside of them, I picked the Oilers. Another reason, goaltending. It's been the story about them for years. Right. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, maybe the 2 best players in the world outside of McKinnon. And goaltending. They make a big trade getting Skinner out of there, but they get Jari in, who we've seen in the
Swayman, didn't I?
You did.
It's okay.
It's all right.
It's been a rough night.
It's okay. But it's Jari, who we've seen in the playoffs also maybe not perform the best, especially against the Islanders. So I think that's going to be their Achilles heel. Then you go over to the East. I think your 2 contenders here are the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Carolina Hurricanes. The Lightning for the reason that
Islanders.
Well, you know what? I should say that I omitted the Islanders in this whole thing. They're contenders. But
obviously.
The Lightning just, proven success over the years. They're a championship team. They've won a couple championships in the past few years. I know we're getting a little bit further away from that now, but you got Kucherov, Point, Vasilevsky. They got Radish on defense going ballistic right now.
Wild stuff.
Hedman, of course, too. So that's just a team that I think will compete and always will compete as long as they have that core there. Then Carolina, we know they can't really get past the hump of the Eastern Conference Finals. They literally can't win a game in it. But they're a high shot volume team with some young talent and they're quick. I think the East, though, is just completely up for grabs, if we had to say that. But those are my 2 contenders. And then for pretenders, I went with the Red Wings and the Flyers. Red Wings, I don't believe in the Yzer plan. I don't think it's happening. And then the Flyers, they just also seem like at some point they're going to come back to earth. But as the season progresses, that they're not. And Trevor Zegras is having one hell of a year over there. But I think when push comes to shove, I don't think either of those teams are going to be able to handle the playoffs. So that's what I have for your pretenders and contenders.
Wow.
Okay.
Comprehensive list. I like it.
How do you feel about that, Arthur?
Well, I like that Central Division with Colorado and Dallas and Minnie, because I feel like if there's going to be any real seismic moves before the deadline, it's going to come from those 3 teams. Dallas can have that Tyler Seguin salary cap space because he's done for the whole year. I think I mentioned Artemi Panarin is a possibility.
Yeah,
for him.
you did.
I think any big name guy that might become available, maybe they even go for Elias Pettersson if Vancouver makes him available. They've got the cap space to do it, and I feel like if we're going to get a really good trade deadline arms race, because everybody else is sort of stuck in that, are we sellers, are we buyers?
Yeah.
Those 3 teams are buying. Dallas has the space. Minnesota can create some space if they really need to. Colorado, I'm not really sure, but they always seem to find somebody to add, whether it's the big Rantanen trade last year or Brock Nelson. So I'm excited to see what those 3 teams can develop. And in the East, Jake, I'm with you on the Flyers. I'm not sold on them. Trevor Zegras playing for a new contract. He's playing out of his mind. I really like what Rick Tockett's done with that team, but I still feel like they're a little too mid for me for the goalie on out to really compete. Having said that, you would love to see them finish third and maybe play the Islanders in the first round.
That wouldn't be bad.
At that. And as far as the other division, yeah, Tampa. I'm a big John Cooper guy. I really feel like he's done a kind of an under the radar, fantastic job all the way along. And this year might be his best coaching job ever because it's Braden Point's missed a ton of time. Pretty much every one of their elite players outside of Kucherov has missed a significant amount of time. And they seem to pull these guys like Darren Radish out of nowhere. This guy's a point-per-game defenseman.
Right.
He was in the Rangers system in Hartford for 3 years. He was in Chicago's system. Never even got a sniff of the NHL. Now he's running a power play. Like it's incredible. So kudos to Coop and his coaching staff. They seem to find these gems every year and make the most of them. So in a wide open East, I'm with you, Jake. I think they might be my favorites.
Okay, and Jake, when you say pretenders, do you mean not make the playoffs?
No, I should say I don't think that they have a chance to compete for the cup.
Okay, so then fair enough. Because I was going to push back on you with the Red Wings. I don't think they're pretenders as far as standing wise. I think they're going to stick. I think they're going to make the playoffs, and good for them. They're having a good year. But fair enough. If you don't think they're going to win the cup, well, neither do I. So that's fine. But great stuff all around, buddy. And also appreciate you giving me the opportunity to correct my Swayman Jari what's it called, gaff before.
That's why I did it.
Thank you so much, Jake. I appreciate that. So that'll do it for the Snake Den. Wait, you got a trivia question, don't you?
Question.
That won't do it for the Snake Den.
So
let's hear it.
We're still here.
I'm ready.
So who were the first two Islanders inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame? Was it Billy Smith and Clark Gillies, Potvin and Bossy, Potvin and Trottier, or Bossy and Nystrom?
Let's see. I'm going to say Smith and Gillies just because of when they retired.
All right. What do you got, Sean?
So I forget the pairings.
Okay.
But
You are having a good one
you can
tonight,
just mash
aren't
them
you?
together.
it's the Guinness.
It is. It's the Guinness.
But was Bossy and Smith an option?
It was not.
Okay, because that would have been my guess.
It was not.
Because I was thinking along your lines, though, like guys.
Who was Bossy paired with?
So Bossy was with Potvin and also with Nystrom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I have to go with Arthur's guess because I don't think those other pairings make sense. Because I would have went with Bossy and Smith because those guys I feel like kind of retired sooner, right? So those would have made sense to me. So give us the
It
answer.
was actually Potvin and Bossy.
Oh, you should have. See, that was your first instinct.
Yeah, I thought you were going
It's
there.
always right.
Thought you were going there.
Damn it. No, clearly my first instinct isn't right because Jake Ottinger doesn't play for those guys and
Jeremy
the
Swayman
whole deal.
doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hey, valiant effort.
Thank you. Well, Jake, great stuff as always. Thank you for the trivia question. And now we're going to move on.
All right.
From the Snake Den. That means I'm going to tell you guys about Isles Fix. That's right, Islanders Country. Get your daily fix of Isles news, highlights, and analysis by subscribing to Isles Fix, the Monday through Friday Islanders newsletter sent directly to your inbox. Sign up for free or become a paid subscriber for added benefits at islesfix.substack.com. And now it's time for your participation, folks. It's time for Questions Brewing.
It's time for Questions Brewing. So go ahead, ask us a question.
Hello.
Yes. Hello, Ed.
How are ya?
Looking like a nerd there with the glasses. How we doing, pal?
I've had the glasses on for like a month now.
It's cool to be a nerd.
Yeah.
It's cool to be a nerd these
suppose
days.
so. All right.
Yeah, it's cool.
Anyway,
How we doing, man? How's Jay?
he's all right. He's not blinking. Okay. I'm going to read the poll. Jake had another poll of who's your Islanders' first half hero? Was it Matthew Schaefer, Ilya Sorokin, Bo Horvat, or Matthew Darch? It was overwhelmingly Matthew Schaefer with a 59%, Ilya with 31%, Bo Horvat 0%.
Wow.
And Darch with 10%. That's interesting.
Olympian Bo Horvat gets the shutout.
Damn.
Yeah, I
That
guess he's just been hurt.
Well,
too much. I don't know.
Schaefer's the darling of the league right
Well,
now.
I mean,
Yeah.
he deserves it.
He's the
Sorry
darling
to
of the
say.
hockey world, so
Yeah.
I get it.
Arthur, before we get into like more serious questions, people want to know what's up with your hat. Why not a Boston U hat? Did you attend Wake Forest?
I did not, but my son goes there, and I just drove him most of the way down yesterday. So I told him I would wear the hat on the show today. And
There you have it, folks.
Very nice.
he's a college junior. He was totally
Love it.
totally indifferent, but
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so
All right.
let's start off with MJ Beckman here. He says, if the Rangers take Colin Stevens' advice and begin to sell begin to sell, and they would actually trade with the New York Islanders, who could/should the Islanders try to get, and what is the price?
Well, no one should ever take Colin Stevenson's advice. That's going to tell you people out there. I love you, Colin. But anyway, who should they get? I mean, they should get Artemi Panarin, shouldn't they?
Absolutely.
Obviously.
You got a couple extra draft picks laying around. If it wasn't him, I would say the guy that they should actually go get that's probably going to not cost a ton is probably Carson Soucy. For what the Islanders are looking for right now, Soucy's not having a fantastic year. Nobody really on the Rangers is, but he's perfectly serviceable. Doesn't cost a lot. If they could get him for a third-round pick, let's say, or maybe a conditional second, plug him in there on the third pair. Still skates pretty well. He's a big dude. I think he'd fit in with what the Islanders do. It will never happen, but if we're talking hypothetical, that's who I'd go for.
Okay. I would say under normal circumstances, nobody of note would be dealt to the New York Islanders by the New York Rangers. But because Madman Chris Jury is running the show over there in Manhattan, I think anything is possible. I think he's ruining that team, destroying that team.
Wow.
Yeah.
We could turn this into a Rangers podcast.
You heard it here first, or second, or third. Yeah. I just don't really like the job he's doing over there. So, but he has done some very, non-traditional or I suppose controversial things. So maybe trading to the Islanders is something he'd be willing to do. But I just don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
Either.
DTMR, he says, should Waz stick with Mack, Zeker, and Gakholm as a permanent fourth line?
No.
Okay.
I don't think anybody's got a permanent, there's a few guys
That's true.
that are permanent, but that fourth line, mixing Siplikov in is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Shifting it around, I think dropped Cal Ritchie down to be the fourth line center the other night.
They did.
And Cizikas was on the third line, which actually worked out pretty well. No, I think you still need to earn it. I don't know that they're going to need to bring anybody else in. I think the rotation they've got right now is working pretty well. But yeah, changing it up a little bit. I think once you get to the playoffs, you may get a little bit more comfortable with a certain makeup of a fourth line depending on who they're playing. But I like what Gatcomb's brought. Casey, I think, is having a fantastic year, really turned things around.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle McLean's kind of, back from the dead from a terrible season last year. He's been effective, but I think they still need to produce. I think even if, when they're back at full health, when Horvat is back, maybe even Duclair drops back down there again. I think nothing is certain. You've got 13 forwards when Horvat is healthy that are really quality and can all fill roles. So yeah, nobody gets anything for free around here.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with you in the sense that I don't think any three specific individuals have certainly nailed down those three spots in the sense that those are the guys you got to roll with every night. And, more times than not, the vibes that Patrick Waugh is going with, we'll just call it that, when he decides one guy over another, it's worked out pretty well, especially in recent history. So I don't think you got to staple anybody there. Maybe Cizikas is that guy, obviously, because it's just been his place. But other than that, I don't necessarily mind if Waugh is trading a guy in and out every now and then.
Agreed.
Yeah.
From Jeremy, he says, what do the Islanders have in Holmstrom? Top six, middle six, 40 to 50 points or 50 plus points, power play, PK? He says yes to that one. Or OT.
Well, funny you should ask. We were talking about that
PK,
before.
yes. OT, yes. I mean, again, I think what I said earlier applies. It doesn't really matter second line, third line. If he's hot, he's going to get his minutes. He's a guy who's got a shooting skill. Maybe his buddy Emil Heineman is equivalent to him in terms of the middle six guys that can shoot like that. But that his first goal last night, that's just an incredible release. And when he's feeling it, he's a guy who shoots, I think, 20% pretty much every year he's been in the NHL. He doesn't shoot it a ton, maybe doesn't shoot it enough for a lot of maybe the coaching staff's liking. But I think when he's on his game, he's effective as a penalty killer. He's a threat as a penalty killer, and he's a threat in the middle six. I don't know that he's a first line guy. I certainly don't think he's a fourth line guy. So let him play wherever he's going to play. Call it what you want to call it. If he can score 20 to 25 goals a year, he can be on my team any day.
And you say his goal, during regulation was a great shot. The goal in overtime was a great move.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of tools.
He that hockey IQ. He saw Tony D kind of give that little pick, and Boldy had to hesitate. And he takes the puck and he sees he's got a little bit of a gap and he just took it and went right to the net. And it was kind of a stuff job too. Gustafsson made the first save, but he was driving puck went back off his stick and back in.
And you talk about that pick. He even said it in his post game that he kind of faked the drop pass back there. So he had me fooled. I was like, all right, he's dropping that back. And I was like, oh shit, he took it. And he went through and he scored the goal. And I was like, good choice, Simon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he looks great.
Yeah.
Next up from T-Dog Roto. I'm actually going to combine this with Bobber's question. So starting off with T-Dog, he says, what do you think the actual chances of Sorokin winning the Vezina are? I think he's leading the betting odds at present. And Bobber asks, if can Sorokin win the Vezina by leading in the advanced stats, but not the old standard ones?
Absolutely. You know, like I said, the Vezina, maybe I had that confused. Is the Vezina the GMs or I think the general managers vote on the Vezina and the broadcasters vote on the Jack Adams.
Okay.
I think the GMs know. They all have analytics departments. They can look if they choose to look.
Sure.
But I think also those kind of raw stats, the basic stats and the metrics sort of merge together at some point. I don't think he's going to end up with 40 goals saved above expectation, which, to point out, Connor Hellebuck was just under 20 last year when he ran away with the Vezina and the Hart and all this stuff, which is a good number, but Sorokin's already past that right now. So, if he ends up with massive numbers and he's the huge gap between 1 and 2 in terms of GSAX, I'm sure his save percentage will start to come up a little bit too, where he's in that 920 range where you're like, all right, if you're above 920, you're pretty much an automatic for the Vezina. And I think you have to look at the talent on the team. I think that's kind of another, it's not a stat, but it's sort of a basic narrative of like, is this a team, you know, Scott Wedgwood was carrying the load in the net for the Avs, but nobody's given him the Vezina this year because they've got 4 guys that could carry any team up front.
Right.
Do the Islanders have that? They obviously have Matthew Schaefer. They have Bo Horvat scoring at a high pace, but they are not a team where you look at them and say like, oh, well, you know, if they only got average goaltending, they'd be fine.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like the narrative and the basic stats and those great metrics will merge together at some point if he keeps this up. And the Islanders keep this up and they're in the playoffs, he's going to be the main reason why. So I think that's usually what gets you the Vezina.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of heavy lifting. And then also, I guess part of it is it's where they end up in the standings, right? Like he can have great advanced stats, he can have a great save percentage, but if they miss the playoffs, usually that's almost an automatic sorry, pal.
That's kind of the line of demarcation. You really have to be more of a stat head to kind of appreciate it, which I do try to be when I'm making those voting decisions. Obviously, we don't, you know, the writers don't vote for the goalies, but when you're kind of digging in and you see the impact a goalie can have because of that, he's playing so much above average or so much above what's expected for the quality of the chances that they're facing. I think it ends up really mattering to the people that vote on that stuff.
There you go.
Sarducci asks, is Mangiapane an interest from Darch?
Maybe. I wouldn't be that interested. I feel like he's very similar to what they have. If you can't be a productive guy on the Edmonton Oilers, I don't know how productive you're going to be anywhere else.
I have a question for the questioner. Is Sarducci a Tropic Thunder reference? Because that was one of like the multiple names that Robert Downey Jr. called.
Maybe.
And I
it's
don't
Sarducci
even remember his real.
1934. So
could
because
be
Sarducci. Let me talk at you for a minute.
could be
we'll see what he says if he's still in.
could be an SNL reference too from way back.
Is that right?
Father Guido.
I'm not familiar.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
that's okay.
You got to dig into your comedy history then.
Maybe I will. It sounds like I got to dig deep for that.
Ed, can you ask that guy what he's referring to? Because we have a little bit of debate going here.
We'll see if he's still in chat. You might answer. But Sarducci, we need you if you're here. We need to know where your name comes from.
Fair enough. Next,
we'll do another one from Jeremy. He says, what are your thoughts on L. Foudy being a call-up?
Oh, Liam Foodie.
Oh, it's Foodie?
It is Foodie.
Why not just use 2 O's?
Wait, that's not his nickname, El Foudy?
Could be.
Why not just spell it Foodie? 2 O's, please.
I think
hockey names.
from what I understand, he's having an okay season, but he's a center, and they seem to be set at center, so I don't know if we're going to see him. But okay.
They just seem to
More
be
options.
set it forward, you know, like all the call-ups have been defensemen essentially.
It's hard to crack through that top 13 because they've been rotating it pretty well.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Gabe. He says, is Shabanov really just drunk Barzal?
Okay.
It's a strong accusation. What do you like Shabanov's game?
I do. He does go quiet sometimes, which I'm being a little forgiving of because he's still acclimating himself to the North American game and all that. But I like the potential that he has. Like, Like, I'm kind of crossing my fingers that he doesn't go the way of Siplikov. And that last season, I think he showed some promise. And then, obviously, he struggled to even get in the lineup this year. And he's kind of faded down, the pecking order on the team. I love his skill. I don't mind his size because it seems like he can still play despite his size. I'd like to see him, get into a shootout just to see what he can do, a little more dipsy doodle. But yeah, I like him. I'm rooting for him. Like, I want him to become a staple in that top 9 somewhere. But I don't think he's necessarily earned it yet.
Okay.
No opinion from you?
No, that'll cover it.
Okay.
There you go. Thomas Boyle. Has a goalie ever won MVP and the Vezina?
Last year. Just happened. Literally just happened.
Yes.
Usually that would be an accomplishment to win MVP of the league and not MVP of the goalies, I would say.
That would be tough to do.
Vezina is like the building block up to the heart. But yeah, Connor Hellebuyck did it, and I don't think it was deserved, but for the heart part.
I guess if you
Maybe
think
that's
about
why Tom forgot. He didn't think
well,
he
if you
deserved it.
think about it, though, to go back at you here, you could be the most valuable player to your team, but not necessarily be the best goalie in the league.
I suppose.
How about that?
I suppose that's true. But goal, it takes a special year for a goalie for me to be in the Hart conversation. Finalist, fine, but is someone going to get the Hart Trophy over Nathan McKinnon or Connor McDavid this year, or Macklin Celebrini, who deserves to be in that
he's
conversation?
been excellent. Yeah.
Goalies, you could always look at a goalie. They're the ones that make or break everything in this league. So it's hard to separate them out. Like I said, you have to. If you've got 20 goals saved above expectation over the next guy, or you're a 930 save percentage goalie like Igor Shesterkin had a few years ago, where the next guy was in the 9 teens, okay, then I'll consider you for the Hart Trophy. But otherwise, I think it's a skater's award.
Yeah, I'm with you. Ed,
we'll do another one from Thomas. He says, "Do you see the Islanders finishing first in the Eastern Conference?"
Do I see it happening? No. Could it happen? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
they're there.
They are allergic to the Carolina Hurricanes in all ways.
Yes, they are.
Truly incredible. And then, conversely, the Carolina Hurricanes are allergic to success against literally everybody else in the league in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So I think Carolina will probably hold them off, but it could happen, I suppose. Islanders have been defying our odds and expectations pretty much the whole year. If you pick them to not win the division, Sean,
you know what?
I think they're going to win that division.
Gonna double down on that right now. The New York Islanders are not going to win the Metropolitan Division this season.
The odds just dropped to like minus
Jesus. Well, MGM just boosted the odds for the winning. So
we spoke a bit about the Rangers if they would sell to the Islanders. Now we're going to move on. Do you think the Devils would potentially trade with the Islanders this season?
I mean, Tom Fitzgerald did it twice in whatever it was, 7 years ago.
Right. Palmieri and Zajac, right?
Yeah, and Andy Green before that.
Andy Green, yeah.
Yeah, I think they would. I don't know who you'd want from that team that they're ready to get rid of. Not Dougie Hamilton.
What's going on with that?
It's a long story.
Okay. All right, we don't have time for
this. Is not a Devils podcast.
That's true.
We'll figure that out some other time.
Okay.
I think that might be the last one, but we could throw this one in there. And who were the last 2 Islanders to be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
The last 2?
Pierre Turgeon, right?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Right? He just got inducted recently.
Yes.
Who would be the other one, though? That I'm not sure.
Jake's going to the phone.
Okay. Now, is this like hey, I want to know, or hey, do you guys know?
I don't know. I don't think it's a test. It's
like,
from Jeremy.
It's trivia,
It's just up in the air. I feel like he knows. I think Jeremy's a knower. So I think it's on you.
Okay.
Is Zdeno Chara in the Hall of Fame yet?
He is.
Yeah.
It's Chara and Turgeon.
Hey, 50%.
There we go.
And then right before that, Roberto Luongo. You gotta count him, right? You have to count him. We don't have to talk about what happened there. But
I think that was pretty darn impressive that each of us came up with one guy.
I mean, could you have a better
way to finish?
A better pairing of hosts?
That's what it's all about. Teamwork here at Hockey Night New York, and we're living the dream right here and right now.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right.
So, Jake, to answer your question, I'm going to go with Party Time by a band called He Is Legend.
I'll have to check that out.
It's an excellent tune.
I'm going to imagine you scoring when I listen to it.
I love that. Wow. That sounds great. Wonderful. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us live. That will do it for Questions Brewing. That was a lot of fun, and that means it's going to do it for the show. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all for hanging out with us here at Hockey Night in New York from the great Floored Media here in Rockville Center. I want to send out a huge thanks to Kelly Cheeseman from the New York Islanders for joining us. Excellent spot. Wonderful, wonderful spot from him. And I want to send a big thanks to Razor, Kniff, and Lonstein. Nobody likes going to court, but if you have to, call 212-LAW 1500 for a free consultation. And folks, if you haven't already, please rate, review, and subscribe. And now it's time when I ask you, Arthur, where can we find you on the internet and stuff?
Stape NHL at Twitter, also on Blue Sky. Although I gotta post some more on there. There's a lot of stuff.
I'm in the same boat.
There's a lot of stuff to be done. It's too much.
Not enough time in the day.
And then the Tri-State Hockey Podcast with my buddies Johnny Lazarus, who was here with us last week, and Mike Rupp. Where if you want to know about the Devils and Dougie Hamilton, tune in next week. We'll be talking all about it.
You know what? I will do that. Absolutely. You can follow myself on the Twitter and Blue Sky at Shoney Hockey. You can follow the show on all social media platforms at Hockey Night NY. You can check out the website at hockeynightny.com. Jake the Snake Radonis, where can we find you?
You can find me on X at Jake Radonis, Radonis.
There you have it, folks. So that's going to do it for us this week. So for Arthur Staple, for Jake the Snake Radonis, for Edzo behind the mic there, and for Jay sitting next to him, I've been Sean Cuthbert. We've been Hockey Night in New York. We'll see you next week.